Pip and Emma were getting more used to being the express engines on Sodor. They pulled the express all the way to London and back to Sodor every day and on time because of how fast they are. However, the weather has been frosty recently, so when they stop at the stations, they have to put on their brakes early, and it always works. But until the weather gets better, everyone has to be careful when they're working. The Scottish twins, Donald and Douglas, have been taking turns taking the ballast to the miniature railway, and James has to help the workmen fixing up a line where it's being repaired because it was bent from the heat not too long ago. But they have to be careful with the frosty rails as well. But one day, there was trouble. After Douglas finished his run, he was uncoupled from the trucks and puffed away. But the switches were jammed, so he went to the line where the buffers were. Donald immediately saw it ahead of him and tried to put on the brakes, but the frosty rails made him continue going. "Sweet mother of Miss Topham Hat!" He closed his eyes and crashed right into the buffers. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the buffers were broken and Donald was nearly off the tracks. He was embarrassed with the mess and was worried what Miss Topham Hat would say. The next day he was at the sheds and was more embarrassed. The engines teased him and laughed about it too.
"What's the matter, Donald? Always having bad luck crashing into stuff? And I thought crashing into the signal box was bad enough."
Oi! At least I didn't have a serious accident while pulling the famous flying kipper.
"You better take that back or else you're going to get it."
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Lo siento, amigo, for not calling you old square wheels.
Old square wheel? Oh, that does it. I'm gonna...
That's enough, both of you.
There stood Miss Topham Hat. She had seen enough with the argument.
If you continue fighting like this, then I'll send you to a factory you definitely won't like to be in. Am I clear?
Yes, Mom. Sorry, Mom.
We won't have another argument again.
Good. And keep it that way. Now, Donald, I've come here to let you know that crashing into the buffers wasn't your fault. It was that darn frost that was on the rails. But the signalman should have checked before you began working. I told him that if he screws up again like the signalmans did in the past, I would fire him and find a better worker to replace him, and those buffers were getting a bit too old and needed an upgrade anyway. So I guess it's a good thing you crashed into them.
Well, I'm happy to note that it was a happy accident. So does that mean I can get back to work?
I'm sorry, but I'll need you to go to the steamworks in case that crash damaged some of your parts. I can't let a damaged giant continue working and end up getting worse.
But who will be doing my jobs while I'm there?
Don't worry, I already got Douglas to do the ballast jobs for you until you get back. I'm sure he'll do a decent job and get them done while you're away. Are you okay with that?
Yes, Mom! I know my brother and I trust him doing the job for me.
Wonderful! Now off to the steamworks, please.
So Donald left the sheds and did as he was told. A couple of days later, Douglas was taking care of the ballast while James was waiting for his load to get ready so he could take them to the melted rails. Hello, James. I heard that the rails are nearly complete. It sure is, Douglas. I'm just ready for it to be done by tomorrow. Well, what are you gonna do after it's complete? Hopefully I can pull the express again. I just want everyone to continue looking at my shiny red paint that shines in the sun. Gee, sorry that I asked. At least you can get to do that tomorrow. So don't get impatient with the workers. Oh, don't worry about that. I'm sure I can handle it. I'm just excited to get back to doing what I'm good at. Just then, Douglas's firemen uncoupled him from his truck so he can do the other jobs. Well, I better get going. I don't want to let Miss Topham Hat nor my brother down by not doing anything. Alright, see you around, Douglas. They whistled goodbye to each other and he set off. But he didn't look at the tracks ahead of him. He went the wrong way and was heading towards the buffers. The workmen had been painting it and saw him coming towards them. Before Douglas knew it, he wasn't to stop on time and ran right into the freshly painted buffers. The buffers were in pieces. Wet paint splattered onto Douglas and he was halfway off the rails. The workman was furious and the foreman lost patience.
You silly engine! You ruined our hard work. It took us 3 days to get us to paint it. 3 days!
Douglas felt more embarrassed than Donald did when he broke the old buffers. Luckily, James was waiting for his trucks when it happened, so he had the time to help Douglas back onto the rails. When Douglas got back on the rails, James decided to make a joke. Well, Douglas, now you know how Donald felt when he did the same thing, don't you? But Douglas didn't laugh about it. He stayed silent and thought of what Miss Topham Hatt would say. He soon found out later that night at the sheds. She was not happy with him and looked very cross.
I'm not happy with you, Douglas. The foreman told me everything and the rails aren't very frosty anymore, so I know that this is on you. It's a good thing that Donald is nearly done being at the steamworks, otherwise this would have caused some serious confusion and delay.
Douglas didn't say anything. His cheeks were as red as the paint that's been on him after the wreck.
Just a reminder, really useful engines do as they are told. They pay attention to their job and get them done. Don't disappoint me again, or else I'm going to be even more upset with you and figure out what to do with you and your brother. Now, go to the steamworks first thing in the morning so they can get the paint off you and fix your damaged parts, and don't make the same mistake again.
And she walked away, leaving Douglas very embarrassed and ashamed to himself. Henry wanted to tease him, but he decided not to after how his teasing went to Donald. Douglas now knows that he needs to watch where he's going, or else he's going to be in serious trouble if he does it one more time.